So, very happy to be speaking to Leah Maclean today from Oxford Farm Fit, and is it Leah's Raw Ingredients?
Yes. Yep. Sorry, dog in the way.
Dog in the way, that's no problem. So Leah's just going to talk to us a little bit today about her views on nutrition, particularly nutrition for runners and other athletes.
So yeah, hi, lovely to be here with you. So I've done a master's in nutrition and physical activity, and one thing I did come away from sort of all my studies about nutrition with was the concept that it's really hard to pinpoint anything, but you can't really be too certain about anything when it comes to nutrition. You get all of these sort of fads and diets and people telling you this one thing is bad for you, this one thing can cure you, and every single person is different. Everyone's bodies react differently to things.
Absolutely.
So one of the best, looking from a psychological point of view, what I try and promote with my clients is a healthy relationship with food, because that's key. I mean, that's the grounding for me. Is if you have a healthy relationship with food, you're going to live a healthier life. I think you're not going to demonize food in some way. You're not going to feel bad about yourself for eating certain things, or I really hate the whole concept of like sins, or sort of, oh, I've been naughty by eating this and I've been really
I wonder
good.
who that could be.
Not mentioning any any brands, but me, as I was saying, healthy relationship with food, enjoying food, just making it part of your life every day that you enjoy doing. Eating when you're hungry. You don't have, if you enjoy having your 3 meals a day, great, that's how you should be eating. But if you sort of feel like you're forced into having breakfast because some articles say that you should, then no, just eat when you feel that you want to eat. Try and eat as whole as possible. Like, don't eat as processed food, because there's just tons and tons of added things to it, and you can eat so nicely and so well, so deliciously. That's not really a word.
Deliciously.
Delicious.
Yes,
it is a word.
be, yeah,
deliciously.
Why not? 'Tis now.
Creating food from scratch, and it doesn't take a huge amount of effort. It is. You do have to put that time aside to prepare food. But it doesn't mean, learning this massive skill. Cooking, anyone can cook. You just bung ingredients together until it tastes nice.
I mean, when did nutrition just get so serious?
I know, people do. They try and, yes, there's a lot of science behind nutrition, but we don't really need to worry too much about that. Yes, we can study certain areas and look into the depth, especially, getting into, as I said before, women's health and eating around the menopause and cooking for that. And there is science behind that, and you can get more specific. Great. It's good to know that, but really, you don't want to live your whole life sort of worrying too much about that kind of thing. What annoys me is when people just like, right, I'm going to start taking protein supplements and having shakes all the time. It's like, you don't need all these ridiculous sugar-filled protein shakes because you're doing more exercise. You get plenty of protein from your diet. Even if you're a vegan, protein-rich meals are quite easy to make.
Do you think some people eat too much protein?
I'm pretty sure they do, especially people who start strength training and just feel the need to supplement their diet suddenly because they're strength training. Someone active needs about 1 gram of protein per kilogram of body weight. So say you're 65 kilograms, you only need 65 grams of protein a day. That's like, what,
not
half a chicken breast or something? Or, maybe the more you do, a bit more, but it's not going to be much more than that. You don't need to, that's a couple of eggs. It's easy to get that. And then if you're, it's lentils, it's, tons of other food products. So,
and any excess protein, does tend to get stored as fat, just like excess carbohydrates.
Excess carbs do the same, exactly. And also, the type of protein that you need. Protein's created is made up of amino acids, and 8 of them are essential. And some of these protein shakes and supplements that people take just contain a load of random strains of amino acids that you don't really need anyway. So it's just about doing a little bit of research, finding out a bit more about it before you sort of jump on this sort of bandwagon. Just think, is someone trying to make a load of money out of me?
Absolutely.
And if they are, it's probably not that great for your health.
They don't really have your health as their #1 priority when it comes to marketing.
completely. Yeah. So that's really my view. I'm not, supplements can be really useful for certain things. There are things that people do lack in diet sometimes. Vitamin D is one. We don't live in the sunniest of countries, though today is cloudless and beautiful.
Yeah.
Vitamin B12 can be really dangerous if we have not enough B12, omega-3. But depends on your diet. Depends on what you're eating.
It depends on you as an individual.
Well,
and,
exactly.
Is there anything you could recommend for improving our gut bacteria?
Well, probiotics are a really great way to go down. Things like kefir, drinks, to help regulate that kind of thing. You can steer away from things, well, it's like decreasing red meat. Stuff like that can upset your gut microbes. Try really hard not to take medicines like antibiotics, because they will strip your gut flora. I mean, they do save your life a lot of the time. Don't get me wrong, they can be brilliant, but I mean, we're becoming immune to them anyway a lot of the time because we've overused them, and they do a lot of damage to.
It's very interesting you should say that, actually, Leah, because we've got a lady in our Feast and Fast weight management support group who was doing really well, and then she had to have a course of antibiotics. Suddenly her sugar cravings, which she hadn't had for 6 weeks, returned. And she was quite distressed about this. But hopefully she's back on the right course now.
Yes, it can have a dramatic effect. You don't think that taking a certain medicine is going to completely affect how you eat or your diet, and it does. These things are everything basically comes back to the gut. And keeping that healthy is good. So yeah, things like probiotics, but just getting really a great fibre. Dietary fibre is so important. You can find that in veg, like most vegetables. So always just eat tons of vegetables. That's the number one rule.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lots and lots.
Amen to that.
Lots of leafy greens and lots of brassicas. And
so are there any general principles that you would advocate for most people, or is it just like so random?
It can get a bit right. I mean, I focus quite personally when I develop meal plans. It does completely depend on the individual. I've had clients who have really terrible digestive issues and do need to cut out a lot of stuff, and then there are other people who may just want to lose weight, in which case I will not cut anything out of their diet unless they're have an allergy to it. Don't demonize macronutrients like carbohydrates. They can be sort of but we have a tendency, especially in the Western world, to over consume carbohydrate based sort of products, but
there are some cultures in the world who survive very well on carbohydrates.
True. Exactly.
Most of their diet is carbohydrates. However, there's not many I don't know of any culture that thrives on processed carbohydrates.
That's the thing. It all comes back. There are other cultures that survive on a lot of fat, like a lot of meat, red meat as well, and fat. So sort of Inuit cultures, but they are eating fresh, unprocessed meat products and fat products, and so they're not sort of polluting their bodies. So yeah, that is my number one rule: is just whole foods, no processed.
Real food. Huh?
If it comes in a packet, there's probably something else in there.
Absolutely.
Just look on the back. Look at what the ingredients are. If there's more than like 2 ingredients, start thinking, maybe can I have this more naturally?
Yeah,
that's how
Brilliant.
I tend to approach it.
Okay, that's lovely, Leah. Thank you very much for explaining that to us. And if anybody wants any more nutritional advice, how should they get in touch with you?
So if you go to raw-ingredients.com, that's got all my information. Sorry, the dog's in the way again.
Dog's getting hungry again.
Or at Oxford Farm Fit, which is my fitness company, is all over social media, sort of Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. That's at Oxford Farm Fit, all one word. And yeah, you can find my details and contact me there.
Brilliant. Well, it's lovely to see you again down on the farm.
Thank
you very much for your time.